Welcome to the notes on the sum and difference formulas. So again, on your notes page, you'll note that there are formulas up here, okay, all the ones that you need. So the first part of the notes is to find the exact value of sine, cosine, or tangent of an angle. First, you got to determine the values of u and v. Then, if you're not given those, you need to identify values whose sines and cosines are easily identifiable. And then you plug into the formula and find the trig values. So here, this one's one of the easier ones. We have a u and we have a v. So I'm simply plugging into the sine of a sum formula, which is right here. So then what I'm going to do is do the sine of 3 pi over 4, cosine of 5 pi over 6, plus cosine of 3 pi over 4, sine of 5 pi over 6. I go to my unit circle and I find those values. So 3 pi over 4, so if you watch, I can show you, maybe, where my unit circle is. Maybe not. Can you see that part of it? 3 pi over 4, see those two values over there in the corner? So in order to do that, I'm going to, whoops, I guess I cannot see that. Anyways, so I have negative root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. You see where those are for the sine. So, and cosine. So this is root 2 over 2, and this is negative root 2 over 2. I just fill those in while I can see the circle. 5 pi over 6, I am going to do 5 pi over 6, technical difficulties. 5 pi over 6 is negative root 3 over 2 for the cosine, and 1/2 for the sine. So I'm going to write in negative root 3 over 2 and 1/2 for the sine. I simply do some math, and I end up with negative root 6 over 4 minus root 2 over 4, which you can simplify to negative root 6 minus root 2 all over 4. All right, for the next one, I'm going to find the cosine of 165. To find the cosine of 165, I need to find two angles, and I did it wrong the first time, so that I erased for you. Two angles that add to 165, and that are on my unit circle, because 165 is not. So the two angles that are on my unit circle would be 120, which is right here, and 45. So I'm going to do the cosine of 120 plus 45. Plugging into my formula, I'm going to do cosine 120, cosine 45, minus sine 120, sine 45. Then I'm just going to simply rip off my values. So cosine of 120 is negative 1 over 2. The sine of 120 is root 3 over 2. 45 is going to be root 2 over 2 for both the sine and the cosine, a minus sign in between. That gives me negative root 2 over 4 minus root 6 over 4, which is negative root 2 minus root 6 all over 4. 255 is not an angle on my unit circle, so I need to find two values that will give me 255. And I'm going to do the tangent of 300 minus 45. Two ways that I could do this. The first thing, I could find the sine and the cosine and put them over one another, or I can use a tangent formula. Since I have the formulas in front of me, I'm actually going to use the tangent formula. So I am going to do tangent of 300 minus the tangent of 45 over 1 plus the product of tan 300 tan 45. Now I just need to fill in my values. So the tangent is, remember, sine over cosine in the unit circle. Denominators cancel out. So 300 is here. So sine is negative root 3 over 1. Okay. And the tangent of 45 would be 1. So minus 1. Ooh, I don't even need that 1 anymore. Over 1 plus root 3 times 1. Negative root 3 times 1. So when I simplify this, I'm going to get negative root 3 minus 1 over 1 minus root 3. Well, that's not going to be okay. So let me do some simplification. I'm going to times this by 1 plus root 3 over 1 plus root 3. Making some area models off on the side. Negative root 3 minus 1. 1 plus root 3. That's the numerator area model. Denominator area model. Some of you don't need to make those. These cancel. 1, negative 3. Then this gives me negative root 3. This gives me negative 1. This gives me negative 3. And this gives me negative root 3. So my numerator becomes negative 4 minus 2 root 3 over, this is 1 minus 3, which is negative 2. I can further divide the parts by negative 2, so I get 2 plus root 3 as my final answer. Those are the basics of the sine of a sum formulas. You can also solve trigonometric equations with them, verify identities, and please refer to your intro videos for more information on that.